Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is OLAF KOCH. I'm CEO of Metro Group, and I admit I'm super excited. I'm excited because you coming here, people that share the passion for the food industry, that share the passion for innovation, people that have collaborated with us, which was exciting. But it's also very exciting that we could turn an idea which came up in a gathering of RGA, Techstars METRO in July 2014 into something which I hope you will share with me later on, if you agree, is very meaningful. It's essentially very meaningful for us. The first Techstars METRO Accelerator for the food service industry. Now, I don't want to bore you with too much slides, so don't worry. This is not going to be the General Assembly presentation of Metro AG. But still, I want to give you a bit of a context on why are we doing this? What is the reason behind Metro engaging? Is it just a fashionable thing we do? Is it just us pretending we can do things we have never done before? Well, I hope I can convince you of the opposite. And it starts with a picture which might illustrate what we are all about. So you will see that picture at the very end of my presentation again. Don't forget it. 4 years ago, our group was in quite severe trouble. We had continued like-for-like decline, which is basically the evidence that customers more and more start to go away. We were levered to the limit. Our balance sheet was quite weak. And essentially, our engagement within the company was very low. So at the time, we started to really question, what are we doing here? Why are we here? And after various discussions with various leadership teams, while the answer most often given was, we are here to make a profit, which I said I agree, for a public listed company, not totally wrong to make a profit. Second most often answer was, we pay a dividend, also not completely wrong. But the answer which was given a few times, but not that often, was, we are there to continuously generate value for customers. And that was the basic starting point of the journey with this kind of chart, which we showed in 2012 to our teams. And most people at the time thought, oh yeah, it's the next sticker, the next corporate CEO poster, and it's going to go away anyhow. Well, unfortunately for some of them, it did not go away, because it is sort of our rule how we run all businesses. Metro Group is a quite diversified business. We run 3 divisions. We run a 30 billion turnover cash and carry operations, Metro and Macro. We run a 21 billion consumer electronics division called Media Saturn, and we run a hypermarket with 8 billion turnover in Germany called Real. Today, we're going to focus solely on the B2B business, the Metro and Macro business. Now, you see this wonderful picture here. Let me give you the meaning. What are we doing with this? First of all, every single entity we have, doesn't matter which division, which country, you need to precisely tell which is your customer. So what's your target audience? Who are you serving? And don't come back and say, doesn't matter, we serve everybody. No, make your choice. Once we know, and for most of our cash and carry countries in Western and Southern Europe, that's the hospitality sector, then the next question is, what makes you different? What is the value you contribute on assortment, on services, on whatever? And if you know that it's there, great. If you know it's not there, tell us, what should we do? How can we improve? And if it costs money, it doesn't matter. Even if we have a CFO sitting here in the front who is very disciplined on expenses, we say we spend the money. If it's creating value for the customer, we do it. Why do we do it? To get the growth on like-for-like basis. To fund that, of course, a company that is not in best economic conditions, you need to save the money elsewhere. So we started in 2012 to radically cut out everything that is not generating value. That's the third one, the improve bucket of that circle. Then we go, if we grow back, we go for expansion. And at the time, we already put on innovation. To be honest, in 2012, we did not have the right to play on innovation too much because we needed to get back in shape. Today, we're in good shape. We have 10 consecutive quarters of like-for-like growth in the core business, cash and carry. We have 6 consecutive quarters like-for-like growth in Media Saturn. And we reduced our debt by 5 billion, putting us in a position that our balance sheet now, I can dare to say, Mark, is not strong. It is very strong. And we can do other things we were not entitled to do 4 years ago. But the other part of the journey at the time was also questioning what is the real core of our brand. And to give you also background, we are more than 50 years old. We used to run a business on a standard formula, a very good formula. It was rolled out very successfully internationally. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here speaking to you. My predecessors have done a great job. But somewhere on that journey, we lost attractiveness. And the model of rolling out a standardized model didn't work anymore. That's why we had to go through this exercise of understanding we need to incrementally create value for customers. But what is the real underlying meaning of what we're doing there? For us in the cash and carry business and Metro and Macro, that is very simple. Our goal must be that the nice people you see on that chart who are everyday heroes in their small businesses, which could be a small pub, it could be a restaurant, it could be a hostel, it could be a few hotels they own. Our role and our goal must be that we just contribute a bit more to their success. And that is a formula that you might think is very sort of social pedagogic and unselfish. Well, it's true. We have a give-first mentality, that is true. But we also know that whenever we do that, there's a very logical next step, which is it's going to make us successful. So having succeeded in helping small business people, we know that our business improves as well. So going a bit further, we then had to reinvent the core of our brand. And the core of our brand since 2012, 2013 actually, because it took us a year to get there, is this one. We want to be champion for independent business people. We want to support the smaller and the mid-sized entrepreneurs to be not only competitive, but to have a sustainable future in growing their operations. Is it by gaining more customers, higher loyalty, improving the experience, or saving costs? And as I said, we have been able to do so in a more and more intensive way. And Peter Bohne, here in the front, CEO of Cash and Carry, since October last year, is pushing that forward every single day with the whole team, and many of them are here today, because we have a mission we believe in, and that belief is so strong because it has a purpose. And I am a strong believer that purpose is driving more engagement than anything else. So we moved away from a standard operations upstream supply chain operator into something we believe has a strong purpose and actually creates lots of engagement. Now, I built the bridge to this program because you might wonder, why is he telling all of this? I mean, I tell this because it has a very strong link to this program. The question we raised 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, is, well, while we make progress on assortment, we provide new services, food service distribution, delivery, advisory, training, what about digital? So we had the question, is there something we should look at? And obviously, there's a lot of stuff you see on that chart that could be thought of. You could think of a restaurant building community and say, you're my loyal customers, I keep you informed. I provide new services to you, not just online reservation, but prepayment, stuff like that. I could start to think about optimizing your efficiency, getting rid of the big shrinkage volume you have, improving your economics. So all of these things essentially are much more possible and likely with digital tools. Why is it something you should look at? Not just the people involved in the program, but everybody interested in the food services sector. Why should you look at it? Well, I'll tell you why. It is a huge opportunity. If you look at the sector in Western Southern Europe, so let's say Germany, the Benelux, and then going through France, Spain, Italy, and Portugal, we're talking about 2 million independent entrepreneurs, roughly. 2 million people that run their own small business. They generate roughly 400 billion of turnover. 400 billion, which is leading into 120 billion purchasing power. So I hope you agree this is not a small opportunity. Now, why is Metro entitled to play in this sector? Well, we are not a small guy. We can say, in this sector, we are not a small guy. We have 1.5 million customers on the database out of the 2 million customers I was referring to. 1.5 million people we know. Why do we know them so well? Because they have a card, and we know all the transactions. And we, meanwhile, also have installed quite significant relationships. We have more than 3,000 people in the sales force being on the street every day with the customer, and therefore having an access like nobody else across Europe. And that makes us at least a relevant party in a question to be answered, which is, can digital play a role? Now, if you ask that question, I think you need to start to ask the question before, which is, what does digital really look like in HoReCa? Now, I ask you for a second, just think about yourself. Your favorite restaurant you go to, how much did it change in the last 5 years? If you're a bit older and dining out like I am, think about 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Well, I tell you, in my catchment area, my experiences, there has not been that much of a change. It is literally nothing. Digital today in the HoReCa sector is, if you take a black and white point of view, and I take the privilege now to be a bit provocative, I would say it's completely black. There's almost nothing. There are a few, and those who are there, actually they do a meaningful role, but their reach is very, very small. So even the biggest have a couple of thousand accounts. Now, against the millions of customers, there is something wrong. So again, the question, we looked for ideas. Are there things that can help HoReCa entrepreneurs? And we built up a team, a small team on business innovation. Gabi Riedmann, some of you know her, started that 2 years ago. And the good news is Gabi came back and said, yeah, there are ideas, there are bulbs. But also the evidence was not most of them are on. They are not giving light. So the question we raised right after is, first of all, is it only the 3 or is there more? And Gabi came back and said there's much more. So that's great news. But the key question which we raised to ourselves permanently and almost religiously, intensively inside of the company is, are we generating value for customers? So same question to the digital innovation. Is it creating value for a customer? If not, we are not interested. So we started to look at that. And good news is, yes, there are quite a few. Now, I don't need to tell you that while this is the theory, you need to put it into practice. And that's why we have also started to build more resources. And some of you know Kai Schwabedal. Kai Schwabedal is the guy for Digital HoReCa, exactly working on those lights that should shine. Now, the question really is, if there are a few, and today you will see a few, is it correct to believe that this can become kind of an ecosystem? And I dare to say, absolutely. And I'm quite convinced that the participants today are part of a journey of creating this ecosystem. We play a role. We make a contribution. We have a give-first mentality in making that happen. We don't pretend ever that we build it on our own behalf and we will control it. That's rubbish. It will not happen. We don't want that. We want to have as many people joining in to make that happen. And you are, of course, hopefully involved in one or the other way. Now the question is, can Metro make a contribution really in this context? And also here, of course, the answer is yes. We can make a contribution. Why? Because we can transfer the idea to the customer. We can help to review with our expertise and the access we have to top experts in the industry, the top chefs, the top hoteliers, people that really know where the pain is, to come back to the business and give them the feedback they need. So eventually, this would look like this. Now, as this picture illustrates, not all bulbs will shine. But we believe, us as Metro, in selective cases, we can make a contribution, sometimes a small one, sometimes an extremely meaningful one. And that has to do with us giving expertise, giving access to customers, and eventually giving money. As I said, Mark, we have some money, but we'll not pretend to become a venture capitalist. We'll not pretend to become somebody that now is the next big thing on building new business. So the answer on the key question is there a number of ideas? Can they create value? And can we play a role? Is absolutely yes. And the Techstars METRO Accelerator, in a certain way, is not the answer, but it's part of the answer. And I believe it's a very meaningful part of the answer because it brings some light into the darkness I was showing before. Now, I cut it short, only a few minutes between the companies you will see and myself. You see the 11 icons here, you see the bulbs, and you will make your assessment how they shine. Of course, I'm very, very subjective, so I have my personal view. But I'm absolutely excited about the progress made in the last 3 months. This was only possible by strong partners teaming up. As I said, I was very privileged to get to know RGA and Techstars in July 2014, and we found a very complementary competence which we don't have. And we should not pretend that we have it and we just copy it from study books and we put a department in place and call it the incubator department. I don't believe in these things. I think that with Techstars and RGA, we found an ideal setup to bring complementary competence. Techstars is a company that does that since 2006 with lots of success. RGA, the world-famous agency, helping people to craft their message and bring it across in a meaningful way. I think for us, we had lots of expectations when we started the program. We didn't just meet them. For me, the expectations have been basically even over-delivered. And one of the key things, to be very clear, for us has been as well, learn, 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 and we learned quite a lot. We didn't learn just out of the 3 parties. We had many other fellows and associates helping us, many mentors inside of Metro, many of you today here outside of Metro. So it's a big thank you, and I would ask you for a big applause for all the mentors having helped on this program. We have been privileged by getting your knowledge, and our teams have been very privileged to get your knowledge. So this is hopefully also something you enjoyed. I definitely can say for the mentors inside Metro, it was a very, very inspiring and joyful journey. So thank you again for that. So back to this picture, what is it all about? This shows relationship. This shows that business we want to pursue is not just transactional. It is relationship with the customer base. It's relationship with people that serve our customers, which we can help. It is about building something that goes way beyond transaction. And in a certain way, this journey has started, as I said, with the Techstars METRO Accelerator to build a community. So I can tell definitely the 11 companies, whatever will happen, they are part of this community. And they are today, and they will be tomorrow. Now, I thank you very much for your attention, and I would hand over to David and Ryan. Thank you.